Hey everyone, in this video we will take our in-depth look at the Maze Runner 2014. We will explore the movie storyline and provide a spoiler-free plot summary and introduce the main cast and character, and also examine the film production background, analyze its box office performance, and discuss how it was received by audience and critics. Finally, we will share an overall review along with our personal thoughts on the movie. So let's get started. Every once in a while, a film arrives that reminds audience why certain genre continue to capture the imagination years after years. The Maze Runner is one of those movies. Rather than relying only on flashy action or visual spectacle, it combines mystery, suspense, and science fiction in a way that keep viewer curious from beginning to end. Even years after its release, it remains a popular topic among movie fans because of the unique atmosphere it creates and the question it encourages audience to ask. That lasting appeal is one of the main reasons this film deserves a close discussion. At its core, the film belongs to the science fiction and dystopian adventure genre, but it does not limit itself to just one style. It blends elements of survival, mystery, action, and psychological tension into a single cinematic experience. This combination gives the movie a broader appeal than many films in the same category. Whether someone enjoys thrilling adventure, thought-provoking science fiction, and a suspenseful mysteries, there is something here that can capture their interest. One of the most fascinating aspects of the film is how it balances excitement with curiosity. Many action movies focus primarily on explosion, battles, or non-stop movement. While the Maze Runner certainly deliver exciting sequence, it also understands the importance of creating unanswered question. The film builds suspense through uncertainty, encouraging viewers to pay attention to details and think about the larger picture. This approach transforms the experience from simply watching action unfold into actively try to understand the world the filmmaker have created. Another reason this movie deserves discussion is its confident direction. Director Westball made his feature film debut with The Maze Runner, and it is impressive how sure his filmmaking feel. Instead of overwhelming the audience with constant visual effect, Ball carefully control the pacing and atmosphere. He allowed moment of quiet tension to exist alongside energetic action scenes, creating a rhythm that keep viewers engaged throughout the film. This measured approach helped build anticipation naturally instead of forcing excitement through non-stop spectacle. The director also demonstrated a strong understanding of visual storytelling. Every environment feel carefully designed and each setting contribute to the mood of the film. Rather than relying heavily on dialogue to explain everything, the movie often communicates through its mystery, production design, lighting, camera movement. This visual approach encourages audience to observe closely and become immersed in the world on screen. Production style play an equally important role in making the Maze Runner memorable. The film creates an environment that feels both realistic and mysterious. Practical location blend seamlessly with digital effects, resulting in a believable world that never feels overly artificial. Modern filmmaking often depend heavily on computer generated imagery, but this production find a comfortable balance between practical filmmaking technique and visual effect. Because of this balance, the environment maintain a tangible quality that help viewers remain interested in the experience. The cinematography deserves special attention as well. The camera work frequently emphasizes scale, isolation, and movement without becoming distracting. Wide shots establish the impressive surrounding, while closer framing capture moment of tension with precision. Smooth camera movement guide the audience attention naturally, making even quieter scenes visually engaging. Instead of creating the camera as a passive observer, the filmmaker use it as an active storytelling tool that shape the audience emotional experience. Lighting also contributes significantly to the movie's identity. Bright daylight often contrasts with darker, more suspenseful moments, creating visual variety throughout the film. Shadows, changing weather, and careful chosen color tones help establish an atmosphere of uncertainty while maintaining a polished cinematic appearance. These subtitle visual decisions may not always stand out immediately, but they collectively strengthen the film's overall impact. The editing is another element worth appreciating. Good editing is often invisible, and the Maze Runner benefit from transition that maintain momentum without feeling rushed. Action scenes remain easy to follow, while quieter moments are given enough breathing room to build anticipation. This colorful pacing prevents the film from becoming repetitive and allows suspense to develop gradually rather than relying on constant surprises. Sound design further enhances the viewing experience. Every environmental sound, musical cue, and moment of silence work together to increase immersion. The soundtrack supports the emotional tone without overpowering individual scene, helping to sustain tension while complementing the visuals. The music now knows when to become dramatic and when to step back, allowing silence itself to become an effective storytelling device. The film production values also reflect careful planning and attention to detail, costume design, set construction, visual effect, and overall art direction all contribute to the cohesive cinematic world. Nothing feels randomly assembled or inconsistent. Instead, every department appears to work toward a unified creative vision, making the final product feel polished and professionally crafted. Perhaps the greatest strength of the film is that it represents its audience intelligent. It does not rely solely on spectacle to hold attention. Instead, it creates an experience built around atmosphere, visual storytelling, thoughtful design, and carefully controlled suspense. These qualities help the movie stand apart from many other young adult adaptations released during the same era. As we continue exploring the film, we will examine the element that made it such a memorable addition to modern science fiction cinema. From its genre influence and filmmaking technique to its production quality and creative direction, there is much to appreciate before even discussing the story itself. That is exactly what makes this film such an interesting and worthwhile topic for movie lover everywhere. From a financial perspective, the Maze Runner represents a carefully managed studio production that balanced creative ambition with budgetary discipline. Released in 2014, the film was produced with an estimated budget of approximately $34 million, placing it well below the cost of many major science fiction and action film released during the same period. Rather than competing through massive spending, the production focused on strategic resource allocation, allowing the filmmaker to deliver a polished cinematic experience while maintaining financial efficiency. A production budget of around $34 million polished the film in the mid-range category for Hollywood studio release. By comparison, many large-scale science fiction franchises often require budget exceeding $100 million with additional marketing expense increasing the total investment significantly. In contrast, the Maze Runner demonstrated that effective planning and selective spending can produce visually convincing results without relying on an exceptionally high budget. One of the most noticeable aspects of the film's financial planning is its emphasis on practical production method. Instead of contrasting an excessive number of elaborate sets, the filmmaker made extensive use of natural outdoor location, forest environment, and carefully selected landscape reduced the need for expensive studio built sensory while also providing a realistic visual backdrop. Although location filming involved transportation, logistic, and weather related challenges, it can be considerably more cost effective than creating every environment from scratch on sound stages. Set construction still represented an important portion of the production budget. The film required several large physical structures that needed to appear believable and durable on screen. Rather than building enormous, highly detailed environment, the production team concentrated resources on a limited number of key sets. This focused investment helped maintain visual consistency while avoiding unnecessary construction expenses. Visual effects were another area of significant financial allocation. Although the film contained numerous computer generated elements, the production avoided excessive dependence on digital imagery through its runtime. Instead, computer generated effects were reserved primarily for sequences that genuinely required them. This selective approach reduced overall visual effect cost while ensuring that the digital work maintained a high level of quality. By limiting unnecessary CGI, the filmmakers were able to maximize the effectiveness of the available budget. The cinematography department also benefited from thoughtful resource management. Rather than employing unusually expensive environmental camera system or overly complex shooting technique, the production emphasized practical camera work supported by modern digital filmmaking technology. This approach allowed the crew to achieve cinematic visual without dramatically increasing production cost. Investment in lighting, camera equipment, skilled technical crew contributed to a polished appearance while remaining within the project's financial limit. Casting decisions further reflect the film's balanced budgeting strategy. Instead of assembling a cast composed primarily of established high-budget Hollywood stars, the production relied on combination of emerging performer and experienced supporting actor. This approach likely reduced talent expenditure while giving the film an opportunity to introduce relatively fresh faces to audience. Lower salary commitment in the cast category allowed a greater share of the budget to be directed toward production design, visual effect, and technical department. Costume design and makeup requirements remain relatively controlled compared with many fantasy or superhero productions. Because the film did not require large number of elaborate costume, extensive prosthetic work, or highly specialized wardrobe pieces throughout every scene, these departments were able to operate efficiently. The production instead emphasizing practicality and consistency, ensuring that costume match the film grounded visual style without creating unnecessary expenses. Sound production and musical scoring also represented important budget categories. Original music, sound recording, editing, mixing, and post production audio all contribute to the overall production value. While these departments may not receive the same public attention as visual effects, they play a critical role in creating an immersive viewing experience. The budget appeared to have allocated sufficient resources to maintain professional audio quality without excessive spending. Post production counted for another significant portion of the overall investment. Editing, color grading, sound mixing, visual effect integration, and final mastering required months of work after principal photography concluded. These processes ensure that footage captured during filming become a cohesive final product. Although post-production expenses can rise rapidly in effect, it's a heavy film. The Maze Runner maintained a controlled scope by limiting unnecessary digital enhancement and focusing on refinement rather than spectacle. When compared with similar young adult and dystopian adaptation released during the early 2010s, the film's budget appeared notably restrained. For example, many entries in the Hunger Games series were produced with budget ranging from approximately $78 million to well over $100 million. Likewise, Divergent repeatedly required an estimated production budget of around $85 million. Against these figures, the film achieved a comparable level of technical quality with substantially lower financial investment. This comparison illustrates an important aspect of production management. Higher budget do not automatically guarantee stronger filmmaking result. Instead, careful planning, disciplined spending, and efficient coordination among departments often have a greater influence on the finished product. The Maze Runner demonstrates how effective production management can maximize available resources while maintaining a professional standard across cinematography, production design, visual effect, and post production. Overall, the estimated $34 million production budget reflects a financially disciplined approach to studio filmmaking. Resources were distributed across essential creative and technical departments with an emphasis on efficiency rather than excess. The production prioritized practical locations, selective visual effect, balanced casting expenditure, and controlled post-production cost, allowing the filmmaker to create a visually polished science fiction adventure while remaining well below the budget commonly associated with comparable Hollywood production. From an analytical standpoint, the film serves as an example of how thoughtful budget allocation can support creative goals without requiring exceptionally large financial investment. One of the defining strengths of the film is the way it blends multiple genres into a cohesive cinematic experience. While it is generally categorized as a science fiction film, it also incorporates elements of dystopian fiction, mystery, survival drama, action, adventure, and psychological thriller. Rather than allowing one genre to dominate the entire experience, the film carefully balances each of these influences, creating a tone that feels consistently engaging without becoming repetitive. This layered approach gives the movie a distinct identity and broadens its appeal to audience with different thematic preferences. Science fiction serves as the foundation of the film's identity. However, instead of focusing heavily on futuristic technology or advanced scientific concepts, the movie emphasizes the unknown. Its science fiction elements are presented through atmosphere and world building rather than lengthy technical explanation. This restrained approach allows viewers to become immersed in an unfamiliar environment while maintaining a sense of realism. The genre functions less as a showcase of futuristic inventions and more as a framework for exploring uncertainty, discovery, and human adaptation. Closely connected to its science fiction root is the dystopian style that shaped the film's overall presentation. The visual design reflects a world that feels isolated, controlled, and intentionally limited rather than presenting polished futuristic cities or highly advanced civilization. The production favors natural environment mixed with imposing structure and carefully designed setting. This contrast creates an atmosphere where beauty and danger appear side by side, reinforcing the feeling that the environment itself is constantly influencing the emotional experience. Mystery is another essential component of the film genre identity. From the opening moment, the movie establishes an atmosphere built around unanswered questions rather than immediate explanation. Instead of revealing information quickly, the filmmaker deliberately encourages curiosity. Every visual details, sound cue, and environmental choice contribute to the sense that there is always more to understand. This gradual approach keeps the audience mentally engaged, inviting viewers to observe closely and interrupt what they see rather than simply waiting for each sequences for action sequences. The survival aspect of the film add another layer to its overall tone. The survival stories often focus on resourcefulness, discipline, and adaptation, and the Maze Runner captured these qualities through its visual style and pacing. The environment is presented as something that demand constant awareness, creating an underlying tension even during relatively quiet moments. This survival atmosphere gives the movie a grounded quality despite its science fiction setting, making the challenges feel immediate and believable. Action play an important role, but it is handled with notable restraint. Instead of delivering continuous high intensity sequence, the film carefully spaces its moment of physical excitement. This measured pacing prevents the audience fatigue and allows suspense to build naturally. When action does occur, it feels purposeful because it emerges from an atmosphere that has already established emotional tension. The result is a viewing experience where every action supports the overall mood rather than replacing it. The pacing of the film deserves particular attention. Many modern action films rely on relentless speed from beginning to end, leaving little room for reflection or anticipation. The Maze Runner adopts a different strategy. It alternates between slower observational sequence and faster moment of intensity, creating a rhythm that maintains audience engagement throughout the runtime. This variation allows viewers to absorb visual detail and appreciate the carefully constructed atmosphere before the tempo increases again. The tone remains consistently serious without becoming overwhelming bleak. Although suspense is a constant presence, the film avoids excessive darkness or hopefulness. Instead, it maintains an emotional balance that keeps viewer invested without becoming emotionally exhausting. There are moments of calm, curiosity, determination, and anticipation that provide natural variation while preserving the film's overall sense of tension. Atmosphere is perhaps the movie's greatest achievement. Nearly every technical department contribute to creating an immersive environment. The production design establishes setting that feel both realistic and mysterious. The cinematography frequently emphasizes scale through wide composition while also using tighter framing to create feeling of uncertainty and confinement. These visual choices encourage audience to experience the environment emotionally rather than simply observing it objectively. Lightning further strengthens the film's mood. Bright natural daylight contrasts with darker shadow-filled scenes to produce visual variety and emotional depth. Instead of relying solely on darkness to create suspense, the filmmaker demonstrates that tension can exist even in well-lit environment. This thoughtful use of lighting ensures that the atmosphere remains compelling throughout the film without becoming visually repetitive. Color grading also contributes significantly to the overall tone. The movie generally favor earthy greens, muted browns, soft grays, and restrained color palette. This natural tone reinforces a grounded visual style while avoiding the overly saturated appearance common in some contemporary blockbuster. The consistent color choices help unify the film's diverse environment into a cohesive visual experience. The sound design complements the visual atmosphere exceptionally well. Environmental sound often receive as much attention as the musical score, allowing silence and ambient noise to become effective storytelling tools rather than overwhelming scenes with constant background music. The filmmaker understands when restraint create greater emotional impact. The soundtrack generally builds tension when necessary, while remaining subtitle enough to preserve the film's naturalistic tone. Stylistically, the direction favor realism over spectacle. Camera movement remain purposeful rather than excessively flashy, allowing viewer to focus on the environment and atmosphere instead of becoming distracted by technical showmanship. The editing follow a similar philosophy, maintaining clarity during action while allowing quieter moment enough time to develop emotional weight. This disciplined filmmaking style contribute to the movie's mature and polished presentation. Overall, the maze doesn't succeed because its genre element work together rather than competing for attention. Science fiction provides the foundation, dystopian design shape the visual identity, mystery sustain curiosity, survival influence the emotional atmosphere, and the action deliver carefully timed burst of intensity combined with deliberate pacing, restrained direction, immersive sound design, and thoughtful cinematography. This stylistic choice create a film that feels consistently atmosphere, emotionally engaging, and visually distinctive without relying on excess or spectacle alone. Before watching the film, audience generally expect a film that combines science fiction with suspense, action, and mystery, even without knowing anything about the story. The title, promotional material, and the overall presentation suggest an experience centered on tension, exploration, and survival rather than straightforward action. These expectations are largely met through the film style, pacing, and atmosphere, making it appealing to viewers who enjoy movies that gradually reveal their world instead of explaining everything immediately. One of the first group likely to be interested in the film is young adult audience. During the early 2010s, young adult science fiction adaptation became highly popular, and many viewers approached the maze runner expecting another entry in that trend. While it shared certain characteristics with other films aimed at teenage and young adult viewer, it also established its own identity by emphasizing mystery and psychological tension. As a result, audience expecting a thoughtful science fiction adventure rather than a purely action driven blockbuster are more likely to appreciate what the movie offers. Adult viewer can also find plenty to enjoy, although film is marketed towards younger audience. Its theme, visual presentation, and measured pacing allow it to appeal to older viewer as well. Adults who enjoy intelligent science fiction, survival stories, and carefully constructed mysteries may discover that the film offers more depth than its marketing initially suggests. It avoids feeling overly childish while remaining accessible to a broad audience. Fans of science fiction naturally approach the movie with high expectation. Many viewers hope to encounter an imaginative setting, convincing world building, and an environment that sparks curiosity rather than relying exclusively on futuristic gadgets or advanced technology. Science fiction enthusiasts may appreciate that the movie focuses more on atmosphere in question than on technical explanation. Those who enjoy discovering unfamiliar world piece by piece are likely to find the films rewarding. Mystery fans represent another important audience, people who enjoy solving puzzles, analyzing clues, and forming theories while watching a film often look for movies that encourage active participation. It creates this kind of viewing experience by maintaining an air of uncertainty throughout much of its runtime. We were expecting a film that constantly raising intriguing question without immediately revealing every answer will probably remain engaged from beginning to end. Action fan may approach the movie expecting frequent chase scenes, large scale battle, or non-stop excitement. While the film certainly includes energetic moments, it does not rely entirely on constant action. Instead, it carefully spaces its major sequence between quieter periods that focus on atmosphere and suspense. Viewers who expect continuous action from the beginning opening scene to the closing credit may find the pacing slower than anticipating. However, those who appreciate action that naturally develop from the overall tension are more likely to enjoy the experience. Fan of survival drama are another audience likely to appreciate the film. Survival stories often emphasize adaptation, teamwork, problem solving, and resilience rather than simply physical conflict. Viewer interested in these elements generally expect an environment that presents ongoing challenges and require thoughtful decision making. Without requiring any story detail, it is fair to say that the film embraces this survival oriented atmosphere, making it attractive to audience who enjoy watching characters navigate demanding situations. The film also appealed to viewers who enjoy psychological tension more than graphic violence. Its suspense is often created through uncertainty, anticipation, and the feeling that something significant may happen at any moment. Rather than depending on excessive gore or horror imagery, the movie built emotional pressure through mood, pacing, and the environmental design. Audience who appreciate suspenseful storytelling without extreme graphic content are likely to find this approach storytelling and satisfying. From a visual standpoint, many viewers expect immersive cinematography and detailed production design, particularly because the promotional material highlights striking environment and large-scale setting. These expectations are reasonable. The film places considerable emphasis on visual storytelling, allowing environment, camera work, and production design to communicate much of its atmosphere. Viewers who appreciate immersive location and cinematic photography are likely to know the attention given to these technical aspect. Another expectation involve pacing. Some audience prefer movies that reveal information quickly, while others enjoy stories that develop gradually. The Maze Runner clearly lean toward the second approach. It encourages patience and observation, allowing curiosity to build over time. Viewer expecting immediate answer to every question may initially feel challenged by this style. On the other hand, those who enjoy slowly unfolding mysteries often consider this measured pacing one of the film's greatest strengths. Genre fans frequently compare new film to previous favorites. Science fiction enthusiasts may expect similarities to other dystopian adventures released during the same era, while mystery fans may anticipate an experience built around uncertainty and discovery. Although certain familiar genre conventions are present, the film distinguishes itself through its sustained storytelling and emphasis on atmosphere over spectacle. This helps prevent it from feeling like a simple imitation of earlier successes. Audience who value strong visual presentation often expect a polycinematic experience, and the film generally delivers in this regard. The careful use of practical location, realistic production design, balanced visual effect, and atmospheric cinematography create an immersive environment that support the overall tone. Viewers interested in filmmaking technique may appreciate how the movie prioritizes visual consistency instead of overwhelming the audience with excessive computer generated imagery. For viewers seeking emotional intensity, expectations should remain balanced. The film focuses more on building curiosity and sustained tension than on dramatic emotional moment in every scene. Its emotional impact develops gradually through atmosphere and pacing rather than constant high intensity drama. Those expecting a thoughtful, steadily engaging experience are likely to connect more strongly with the films than viewers looking only for fast-paced spectacle. Overall, the film is best suited for audience who enjoy science fiction blended with mystery, suspense, survival element, and carefully paced storytelling. Teenager, young adult, and adult who appreciate immersive world building, atmosphere, filmmaking, and intelligent genre entertainment are likely to approach the film with positive expectation. Viewers looking for non-stop action or immediate explanation may need to adjust their expectation, but those who enjoy discovering a cinematic world step by step will probably find the experience engaging. In my opinion, the film succeeds because it encouraged curiosity as much as excitement, offering a viewing experience that rewards patience, observation, and an appreciation for carefully crafted atmosphere rather than relying solely on action or visual spectacle. It is a film designed to appeal to a broad audience, but it is particularly aimed at teenagers and young adults who enjoy science fiction, mystery, adventure, and suspense. Although it was released as a young adult adaptation, its polished production, mature atmosphere, and engaging cinematic style allow it to reach viewers well beyond its primary demographic. Rather than targeting only one age group, the movie offers an experience that different audience can appreciate for different reasons. The primary target audience consists of viewers between the age of 13 and 25. This age group is often drawn to films that combine exciting action, imaginative setting, and thought-provoking ideas. The younger audience typically enjoy movies that encourage curiosity while maintaining a steady sense of excitement, and Maze Runner fit comfortably with that category. It represents an encouraging cinematic experience without relying on excessive violence or overly mature content, making it accessible to teenager viewers while remaining interesting for older audience. Teenagers are likely to appreciate the film because it balances entertainment with mystery instead of presenting every answer immediately. The movie encourages viewers to observe detail, think critically, and remain engaged throughout its runtime. This interactive style of storytelling often appeals to younger audiences who enjoy discussing theories, sharing opinions, and analyzing different aspects of the film after watching. It becomes more than simply a movie to watch, it becomes a movie to think about it. Young adults are another important audience for the film. Many viewers in their late teens and 20s enjoy science fiction that emphasizes atmosphere, survival, and exploration rather than overwhelming action. This audience generally appreciates stories that combine excitement with larger ideas, allowing entertainment and curiosity to exist together. The film yet pacing and cinematic presentation align well with these preferences, making it an appealing choice for viewers who enjoy thoughtful genre filmmaking. Adults can also enjoy their films, particularly those who appreciate well crafted science fiction without expecting high complex scientific concepts. The movie focuses on creating an immersive atmosphere rather than presenting dense technical explanation, making it accessible even to answers who are not dictated science fiction fan. Adults who enjoy suspenseful adventure, visually engaging production, and carefully controlled pacing are likely to find the experience satisfying. From an interest perspective, the film is especially well suited for viewers who enjoy mystery. People who like asking questions, identifying clues, and gradually uncovering straight information often find this style of filmmaking rewarding rather than delivering straightforward entertainment. The movie encourages audience to stay mentally involved throughout the viewing experience. Individuals who enjoy solving puzzles or exploring unknown environment are naturally drawn to film with this kind of atmosphere. Adventure enthusiasts also represent an important part of the target audience. Many viewers seek movies that create a sense of exploration and discovery even without relying on constant action. These audience appreciate cinematic world that feel immersive and carefully constructed because it places significant emphasis on its environment, visual presentation, and atmosphere. It offers an experience that appeal to viewers who enjoy adventure-driven film making. Fans of survival theme entertainment are another key demographic. Whether in films, television series, novels, or video games, survival stories continue to attract audience interested in resourcefulness, endurance, and problem solving. Viewers who enjoy this type of storytelling often appreciate environment that challenge individuals both physically and mentally. Even without discussing the narrative itself, it is clear that the film overall presentation aligns well with these interests. Science fiction fans from perhaps the largest genre-based audience. However, this movie is particularly suited for viewers who enjoy accessible science fiction rather than highly technical or philosophical work. It does not require extensive knowledge of scientific concept to appreciate its world. Instead, it focusing on creating an engaging atmosphere through visual storytelling, suspense, and carefully paced discovery. This makes it an excellent entry point for audience who are interested in science fiction but may not regularly watch the genre. Mystery lovers are equally likely to enjoy the film. Audience who appreciate unanswered questions, gradual revelations, and carefully controlled suspense, who value movies and encourage observation and patience. Instead of relying entirely on fast-paced action, the Maze Runner built interest through uncertainty and atmosphere. This approach allows viewers to remain actively engaged throughout the experience rather than simply watching events unfold. Action fans should also find something to appreciate, although expectations should remain balanced. The movie contains energetic sequence and exciting moment, but it is not designed as a non-stop action spectacle. Instead, action serves the larger atmosphere and support the overall pacing. Viewers who enjoy action blended with suspense rather than constant explosion or large-scale battle are more likely to connect with the film style. The film is also suitable for viewers who appreciate strong production values, cinematography, sound design, editing, production design, and visual effect all contribute to a polished presentation that appeal to audience interested in filmmaking itself. People who enjoy discussing camera work, atmosphere, post practical location, or itself. People who enjoy discussing camera work, atmosphere, practical location, or visual style may find the movie particularly rewarding because much of its storytelling is communicated through technical craftsmanship rather than dialogue alone. In terms of age suitability, the movie works best for teenagers and adults. Younger children may find the restrained suspense and darker atmosphere less engaging or occasionally intimidating, even though the film avoids excessive graphic, and the younger children may find the sustained suspense and darker atmosphere less engaging or occasionally intimidating, even though the film avoids excessive graphic violence. Families with older teenagers may find it to be an enjoyable viewing choice because it provides excitement without crossing into extremely mature territory. Parents generally have less concern about explicit content that they might with many modern action or horror films, although the overall intensity may still be best suited for viewers in their early teens and older. The movie is less appropriate for audience who prefer romantic dramas, light-hearted comedies, or slow-paced character stories. Viewers whose primary interest lies in emotional relationship, broad humor, or everyday realism may find the film emphasis on mystery and suspense less appealing. Similarly, people who expect constant high-energy action from beginning to end may find that the deliberate pacing asks for more patience than they anticipating. Overall, it is made for viewers who enjoy intelligent entertainment that combines science fiction, mystery, adventure, suspense, and survival element within a visually engaging cinematic experience. It is particularly well suited for teenagers, young adults, and adults who appreciate immersive world building, polished filmmaking, and the stories that encourage curiosity. In my opinion, its broad appeal comes from its ability to satisfy both casual moviegoer looking for an exciting adventure and genre fan who appreciate atmosphere, thoughtful pacing, and carefully crafted visual storytelling. One of the most compelling aspects of the film is the emotional journey it promises through its atmosphere rather than through constant spectacle. From the very beginning, the film establishes a mood of uncertainty and curiosity, encourages viewers to remain emotionally invested in the unfolding experience. Instead of relying slowly on dramatic moment of intense action, it gradually builds tension through careful pacing, immersive visuals, and an ever-present sense of mystery. This creates an emotional experience that feels engaging from start to finish without becoming overwhelming. The dominant mood of the film is suspense. Nearly every scene is designed to keep the audience alert and curious about what might happen next. Rather than providing immediate answer or predictable development, the movie allows anticipation to grow naturally. This sustained suspense keeps the viewer mentally involved, making them feel as thought they are discovering the world alongside the film itself. It is a kind of suspense that encourages attention to detail rather than depending only on sudden surprises. Curiosity is another major emotional element. The film invites the audience to question its world, its role, and its overall purpose without revealing everything at once. This sense of discovery creates an engaging viewing experience where observation becomes just as important as excitement. Viewers who enjoy piecing together information and exploring unfamiliar setting are likely to find this emotional approach especially satisfying. The movie also conveys a strong feeling of determination and perseverance. Although it maintains a serious tone throughout, it avoids becoming hopefulness or emotionally exhausting. Instead, it emphasizes resilience, problem solving, and the importance of maintaining focus in challenging situations. These themes create an uplifting undercurrent that balances the film's darker atmosphere, allowing viewers to experience tension without feeling discouraged. Another important aspect of the emotional experience is its emphasis on isolation and uncertainty. The carefully designed environment, restrained dialogue, and the atmospheric cinematography create moments where silence becomes just as powerful as action. Rather than filling every scene with noise or constant movement, the filmmaker allow quiet moment to build emotional weight. This approach gives the audience to absorb the atmosphere and strengthen the overall sense of immersion. Overall, the film supports its emotional goals through natural lighting, expensive landscape, and carefully controlled camera work. The cinematography often creates feeling of scale, confinement, anticipation without relying on excessive visual effect. Combined with the subtitle, musical score, and detailed sound design, these technical choices help shape the viewer's emotional response in a natural and believable way. Overall, it promises an emotional experience built on suspense, curiosity, resilience, and anticipation. Rather than focusing slowly on adrenaline or spectacle, it aims to keep viewers mentally engaged while creating a lasting sense of mystery and immersion. For audience who enjoy thoughtful science fiction with an emotionally balanced atmosphere, the film offers a rewarding experience that lingers even after the credit roll. At its heart, The Maze Runner explores the timeless idea of how individuals respond when they are placed in unfamiliar and demanding circumstances. Rather than presenting its concept through lengthy explanation, the film builds its identity around themes of curiosity, resilience, cooperation, and search for truth. Its core idea is not simply about overcoming physical obstacles but about understanding the importance of determination, trust, and a willingness to confront uncertainty. One of the film's strongest themes is the human desire to seek answer. People are naturally curious, especially when faced with situations that seem confusing or unexplained. It embraces this universal instinct by creating an atmosphere where question becomes just as important as solution. It suggests that progress often being with the courage to ask difficult questions instead of accepting uncertainty without challenge. This message resonates because curiosity is a fundamental part of human growth and discovery. Another idea is adaptation. Life frequently present unexpected challenges, and individual must learn to adjust rather than remain comfortable with familiar routines. The film emphasized that success often depends on flexibility, observation, and the ability to learn from changing circumstances. Instead of portraying strength as purely physical, it highlights the value of intelligence, patience, and the thoughtful decision making. Its broader definition of strength gives the story a meaningful and relatable foundation. The concept of teamwork also plays an important role in the movie's underlying message. Throughout life, many goals can't be achieved through individual effort alone. Cooperation, communication, mutual trust often become essential when facing complex situations. The film encourages the idea that different people contribute different strength and meaningful progress usually come from combining these abilities. This message reinforces the importance of community and shared responsibility rather than individual achievement. Another significant idea is leadership. The film raises thoughtful questions about what make an effective leader. It suggests that true leadership is not based solely on authority or confidence, but also on responsibility, careful judgment, and the ability to inspire others during uncertain time. The movie presents leadership as something earned through action and character rather than simply assigned through position or status. The theme of identity quietly supports many of the film's larger ideas. People who find themselves through their experience, choices, and the relationship rather than through external labels. The Maze Runner explored the importance of self discovery and personal growth, suggesting that individual reveals their true character when faced with uncertainty. It reminds viewers that identity is shaped by decision, resilience, and the willingness to keep moving forward despite difficult circumstances. Hope is an essential part of the movie's message. Although the overall atmosphere is filled with suspense and uncertainty, the film never becomes entirely pessimistic. Instead, it maintains the belief that preservation and determination can create opportunities even in situations that appear impossible. This optimistic undergrad prevent the movie from feeling emotionally overwhelming and give its darker moment a sense of purpose. The film also reflects on the balance between fear and courage. Fear is presented as a natural human response rather than a weakness. What ultimately matters is how people respond to that fear. Courage is portrayed not as the absence of uncertainty but as the decision to continue despite it. This interpretation makes the movie message more relatable because it recognizes that bravery often exists alongside doubt. Another important concept is the pursuit of freedom, both physically and mentally. The movie suggests that genuine freedom comes from understanding one's circumstances, making informed choices, and refusing to surrender curiosity or determination. It encourages viewers to value independent thinking and to question limitation instead of accepting them without reflection. Ultimately, it is built around a universal theme that extends beyond its science fiction setting. It explores curiosity, resilience, teamwork, leadership, identity, hope, courage, and the desire for understanding. Rather than focusing solely on entertainment, it invites the audience to consider how people respond to uncertainty and how personal growth often emerges through challenge. These timeless ideas give the film lasting relevance and make its central message meaningful for viewers of many different ages and backgrounds. The central conflict in this film is built around the struggle between uncertainty and the human desire for understanding. Rather than relying solely on physical danger, the film developed tension through difficult choices, unanswered questions, and the challenge of making decisions with limited information. This creates a conflict that feels both external and internal, encourages viewers to think beyond immediate obstacle and consider the broader theme of trust, responsibility, and perseverance. One of the most important aspects of the conflict is the tension between accepting established systems and questioning them. Every society, whether large or small, develops routine, expectation, and the unwritten rule that help maintain order. The film explores the idea that these systems can provide stability while also limiting curiosity and progress. It raises the moral question of whether maintaining the status quo is always the safest choice or whether meaningful change requires individuals to challenge existing beliefs. This dilemma is universal, making the conflict relatable even outside the film's fictional setting. And other significant source of tensions come from the balance between fear and courage. Fear is presented as a natural emotional response rather than a weakness. It encourages caution and self-preservation, but it can also prevent growth if it becomes overwhelming. The movie examines how courage often involves acting despite uncertainty instead of waiting until every risk disappears. The internal struggle gives the conflict emotional depth because it reflects challenges that many people face in everyday life. The film also emphasizes the conflict between individual ambition and collective responsibility. Personal initiatives can inspire progress and innovation but can also affect the well being of a larger community. The movie asks whether pursuing answer or taking risks should remain a personal decision when those choices may influence others. This moral dilemma highlights the importance of considering both individual freedom and shared responsibility, making the conflict more thoughtful than a simple battle between opposing forces. Trust form another layer of the central conflict in situation where information is limiting, deciding whom to believe become increasing difficulty. The film explores how trust must often be earned through action rather than assumption. It also suggests that blind confidence can be just as dangerous as complete skepticism. This ongoing uncertainty creates psychological tension, encourages viewers to reflect on the value of communication, cooperation, and the careful judgment. Leadership introduces another important challenge. The movie presents leadership as a constant balancing act between confidence and humility, action and patience, tradition and innovation. Leaders are expected to make decisions that affect others even when there are no perfect solution. This responsibility creates moral pressure because every choice involves potential consequence. The conflict therefore extends beyond physical survival and become a question of ethical decision making under uncertain conditions. Another recurring reaction involves hope versus doubt. The film suggests that maintaining optimism can be difficult when circumstances remain unclear. However, it also argues that progress often depends on the willingness to believe in improvement is possible even without immediate evidence. This emotional conflict strengthens the overall atmosphere by reminding viewers that resilience is often a mental challenge before it becomes a physical one. Ultimately, the central conflict in this film is not defined by a single obstacle but by a series of moral dilemmas, psychological pressure, and the difficult decision. It explores the challenge of questioning expected belief, balancing personal ambition with collective responsibility, overcoming fear through courage, and maintaining hope during uncertainty. By focusing on these universal conflicts rather than simple physical confrontation, the film creating a thoughtful and engaging experience that resonates beyond its science fiction setting. One of the reasons the Maze Runner stand out among modern science fiction films is its exploration of themes that extend beyond action and suspense. While the movie is designed to entertain, it also encourages viewers to think about larger ideas involving human behavior, ethics, resilience, and the way people respond to uncertainty. These themes are woven naturally into the film's atmosphere, making them meaningful without becoming overly philosophical. A central theme is the search for truth. Throughout life, people are constantly trying to understand themselves, their surrounding, and the reason behind the situation they face. The film reflects this universal desire by emphasizing curiosity as a positive force rather than portraying question as sign of weakness. It suggests that asking question is often the first step toward growth and progress. This theme encourages viewers to value critical thinking and to remain open to discovering new perspectives instead of expecting everything at face value. Closely connected to this idea is the theme of free silence. The movie explores how people respond when faced with unfamiliar or difficult circumstances. It presents resilience not simply as physical endurance but as emotional strength, patience, and determination. The film suggests that true resilience involves continue to move forward even when uncertainty is impossible. This message resonates because it reflects challenges people encounter in everyday life where perseverance often becomes just as important as talent or experience. Another significant theme is trust. Trust is essential in every relationship, community, and society, yet it is rarely simple. The movie examines how trust is earned rather than automatically given. It raises thoughtful questions about when people should rely on others, when skepticism is appropriate, and how confidence develops through action instead of assumption. By exploring trust from simple perspective, the film encourages audience to think carefully about the balance between cooperation and independent judgment. The film also explores leadership and responsibility. Leadership is portrayed more than the authority or confidence. Instead, it is represented as a willingness to make difficult decisions while considering the well-being of others. The movie highlights the responsibility that comes with influence, suggesting that effective leadership requires empathy, accountability, and the courage to act even when perfect solutions do not exist. These themes remind viewers that leadership is defined by character rather than position. Ethical questions play an important role throughout the film. One of the most interesting concerns is the relationship between security and freedom. Societies often create rules and structure to provide stability, but those same questions can also limit personal choice or discourage curiosity. The movie encourages audience to consider whether safety should always take priority over independence, or whether progress sometimes requires questioning establishing boundaries. Rather than providing a simple answer, it invites thoughtful reflection on this complex moral dilemma. Another ethical theme involving individual choices versus collective responsibility. Every decision made in an individual has the potential to influence others, especially within a community. The film explores the idea that personal ambition and collective welfare are often connected. It asks viewers to think about when personal goals should be pursued and when broader responsibility deserve greater attention. This balance between individual freedom and shared accountability adds depth to the movie overall message. Emotionally, the film centers on theme of hope and perseverance, although uncertainty and tension shape much of its more atmosphere. The story consistently suggests that determination can exist even in difficult circumstances. Hope is presented as an active choice rather than passive optimism. It becomes a source of motivation that encourages persistence despite setback or unanswered questions. This emotional arc makes the film inspiring without becoming sentimental, offering viewer a sense of possibility alongside its suspenseful tone. The theme of identity is also woven into the film's foundation. It explores the idea that people are defined not only by their past but also by their choices, values, and action. Personal identity is shown as something that develops over time through experience and decision making. This perspective encourages viewers to reflect on how character is shaped by resilience, integrity, and adaptability rather than by external labels or expectation. From a cultural perspective, the film reflects contemporary interest in dystopian storytelling. During the early 2010, audiences were increasingly drawn to films that explore uncertainty, survival, authority, and social structure through a fictional world. The movie fit with this broader cultural movement while maintaining its own identity. Its theme resonate because they mirror real world decisions about leadership, personal freedom, cooperation, the challenge of navigating complex systems in modern society. Finally, the film highlights the importance of human connection even in demanding circumstances. Cooperation, communication, and the mutual support remain essential. The movie suggests that lasting progress rarely comes through isolated effort alone. Instead, understanding, trust, and shared purpose become powerful tools for overcoming uncertainty. This emphasis on community reinforces one of the film's most meaningful ideas, that individuals achieve more when they work together while respecting each other's strength. Overall, it explores a rich collection of themes including truth, resilience, trust, leadership, identity, hope, responsibility, freedom, and cooperation. It raises ethical questions about authority, personal choice, and collective well-being while guiding viewers through emotional theme of perseverance and self-discovery. Combined with its science fiction setting and suspenseful atmosphere, these ideas give the film lasting relevance and encourage audience to reflect on issues that extend far beyond the screen. One of the greatest strengths of the film is its ability to connect with viewers on an emotional level without relying on excessive drama or sentimentality. Instead of touching emotional reaction, the film gradually built a connection through its atmosphere, universal theme, and carefully controlled pacing. This approach allows the audience to become emotionally invested in the overall experience while remaining engaged by the film mystery and suspense. The dominant mood throughout the movie is one of curiosity mixed with tension. From the opening moment, viewers are encouraged to ask questions and observe their surroundings carefully. This consistent sense of uncertainty creates an emotional bond because it mirrors a feeling many people experience in real life, trying to understand unfamiliar situation without having all the answer. Rather than creating frustration, the film transforms uncertainty into an engaging emotional experience that keep the audience thinking long after the individual scenes have ended. Suspense also plays a significant role in shaping the viewer's emotional response. However, the suspense is psychological as much as physical. It comes from anticipation, unanswered question, and the feeling that every decision carries importance. This type of tension encourages viewer to remain mentally involved instead of simply watching events unfold. As a result, the audience experiences a continuous sense of engagement rather than brief moment of excitement separated by emotional distance. Another reason the film connects emotionally is its emphasis on themes that nearly everyone can relate to. Ideas such as perseverance, hope, courage, trust, identity, and the search for purpose are universal experience regardless of age or background. Most people have faced moments of uncertainty where determination and resilience become essential. By focusing on these timeless human experience, the movie creates emotional relevance that extend far beyond its science fiction setting. The film also succeeds because it balances darker emotion with optimism. Although the atmosphere often feels serious and mysterious, it never becomes overwhelming bleak. Instead, there is an underlying belief that persistence, cooperation, and thoughtful decision making can lead to progress. This balance prevents the emotional tone from becoming exhausting while giving viewers someone to root for and ideas to believe in. The result is an experience that feels both intense and encouraging. The emotional connection is strengthened through cinematography, lighting, sound design, wild landscape, restrained color palette, and carefully framed shots create feeling of isolation, wonder, and anticipation. At the same time, the musical score avoid overwhelming the audience, allowing silence and ambient sound to hide an emotional impact. These technical choices work together to immerse viewer in the film's mood without relying on constant dialogue or dramatic speeches. Perhaps the strongest emotional connection comes from the movie's invitation to reflect on personal growth. It quietly suggests that uncertainty is not always something to fear but can also become an opportunity for learning, resilience, and self discovery. This message resonates because it reflects challenges that exist in everyday life, making the film feel emotionally authentic despite its fictional setting. Overall, it connects with viewers through its suspenseful, more relatable theme and immersive atmosphere. By combining curiosity, hope, determination, and emotional resilience with thoughtful visual storytelling, the film creates an experience that is both exciting and meaningful. Its emotional impact comes not from dramatic spectacle alone, but from the universal feeling of facing uncertainty, seeking answer, and the finding the strength to move forward. One of the greatest strengths of the film is its well-balanced ensemble cast. Each major character serves as a distinct purpose, with the films bringing unique personality, trait, and perspective that enrich the overall experience. Rather than relying on one-dimensional heroes or villains, the movie presents characters with different strengths, weakness, and leadership style. This diversity makes the cast feel believable and keep the audience emotionally invested. Tom serves as the film's central character and fit the archetype of the reluctant hero. His defining trait include curiosity, determination, courage, adaptability, and resilience. Thompson is naturally driven to seek answers instead of expecting uncertainty, making him an engaging protagonist. He is not portrayed as perfect or fearless. Instead, his willingness to question, learn, and grow make him relatable. His balanced personality allows viewers to connect with him while appreciating his strong sense of purpose. Newt represents the calm and dependable leader. He is thoughtful, compassionate, level-headed, and diplomatic rather than leading through force. Newt earns respect through empathy, patience, and practical judgment. His personality provides emotional stability, making him one of the film's most likable and trustworthy characters. He demonstrated that effective leadership often comes from understanding others and maintaining balance during difficult Situation. Albie embodies the responsible authority figure. His personality is disciplined, cautious, protective, and highly organized. Albie values order and believes that structure is essential for maintaining stability, while his cautious approach sometimes contrasts with more adventurous personalities. His perspective reflects the importance of responsibility and long-term thinking. He serves as a reminder that leadership often involves difficult decisions rather than easy answers. Minhu fills the role of the practical strategist, intelligent, resourceful, confident, and observant. Minhu approaches challenges with logic and efficiency. He prefers action supported by careful planning instead of unnecessary risk taking. His sharp, instant, and practical mindset make him one of the film's most capable and reliable personality. His confidence is balanced by experience, giving him credibility without making him appear overpowered. Chuck represents the lone and optimistic companion, friendly, kind-hearted, enthusiastic, and emotionally genuine. Chuck adds warmth to the film's otherwise tense atmosphere. His optimistic nature provides moments of emotional balance, reminding viewers of the importance of companion and leadership. He contributes hard to the story without overshadowing its more serious tone. Galley serves as the skeptical traditionalistic. He is defining trait includes stubbornness, caution, determination, strong conviction. Galley believes in maintaining established rule and is naturally suspicious of sudden change. Although his viewpoint often carry attention, it also introduces an important perspective. His personality reflects the fear of uncertainty and desire to preserve stability, making him more complex than a simple antagonist. From a reviewer perspective, the chemistry among these characters is one of the film's greatest achievements. Each personality complement or challenge the other, creating believable relationship and meaningful interaction. Instead of presenting a cast made up of identical heroes, the Maze Runner offers individuals with contrasting values, leadership style, and emotional responses. Overall, Thompson, Newt, Albie, Minho, Chunk, and Galley form a memorable ensemble whose personalities drives the emotional core of the film. Their courage, loyalty, intelligence, companion, caution, and determination make them engaging characters who strengthen the movie well beyond its science fiction setting. One of the most impressive qualities of the film is the sincerity of its performance. Although the film spent heavily on its mysterious atmosphere, large-scale production design, it never loses sight of its human element. The cast bring genuine emotion to the screen, making the fictional world feel believable and emotionally grounded rather than relying on exaggerated performance. The actor embraces a natural restrained style that suits the film's serious tone. Dalian O'Brien in the lead role as Thompson delivered a performance that feels both confident and authentic. He successfully portrays a character driven by curiosity, determination, resilience without becoming overly dramatic. O'Brien communicates emotion through subtitle, facial expression, body language, mere dialogue instead of theatrical display. This understated approach makes his performance relatable and allow audience to connect with his emotional journey on a personal level. His screen presence is strong enough to carry the film while still leaving room for the supporting cast to shine. Among the supporting actor, Thompson, Brodie, Skanster stand out with a calm and emotionally balanced performance and knew it. He brings warmth, empathy, and quiet confidence to the role, creating a character who feels approachable and dependable. His natural delivery helps establish emotional stability within the ensemble, and his performance adds depth without demanding constant attention. It is the kind of acting that grows stronger the more closely viewer observe the subtitle detail. Ki Hong Lee also deserves recognition for his portrayal of Minho. His performance is energetic yet controlled, blending confidence with intelligence in a believable way. Lee's expressive reaction and natural charisma make his character memorable without overshadowing others. He contributes a sense of determination and practicality that complement the overall mood of the film. ML Amin portraying LB deliver a performance built on authority and responsibility. His measured voice, composed expression, and disciplined body language effectively communicate leadership and maturity. Rather than portraying authority through aggressive alone, Amin gives the role emotional weight, allowing viewers to understand the burden that leadership can carry. Will Poulter as Galley bring intensity and conviction to his role. His performance reflects strong personal belief and unwavering confidence, making his character feel layered instead of one-dimensional portrayal. Avoid turning the role into a simple stereotype, choosing instead to portray emotional complexity and genuine convention. His commitment add meaningful dramatic tension to the ensemble. A particularly touching performance comes from Black Copper and Chung. Copper brings sincerity, innocence, and emotional warmth that naturally balance the film's successful atmosphere. His performance feels genuine and heartfelt, adding moment of humanity that prevent the movie from becoming emotionally distant. His natural charm make him one of the most memorable member of the supporting cast. The chemistry among the cast is another major strength of the film. Rather than feeling like a collection of individual performances, the actor function as a believable ensemble. Conservation flow naturally, emotional reaction feel authentic, and the relationship between the character appear convincing. This strong group dynamic helped immerse the audience in the film's world and strengthen its emotional impact. Director Wes Ball also deserved credit for guiding the performance, as this was his feature film directorial debut. He demonstrated remarkable confidence in allowing actor to express emotion through subtitles rather than excessive dramatic. The performance feels consistent in tone, reflecting a clear creative vision across the entire cast. Overall, the acting in this film is one of the film's greatest strengths. Dalian O'Brien anchored the movie with a compelling lead performance, while Thompson, Brodie, Sangster, Ki Hong Lee, Emil Amin, Will Poulter, and Blake Cooper each contribute memorable supporting role. Their believable chemistry, emotional authenticity, and understated performance elevate the film beyond a typical science fiction adventure, giving audience character that genuinely care about and performance that remain engaging long after the credit roll. Although The Maze Runner is set with a science fiction world, one of its greatest achievements is the realism it brings to its character. The film understands the audience connect more deeply with believable personalities than with impressive visual effect alone. Instead of presenting idealized heroes or exaggerated villains, it offers individuals whose emotion, attitude, and decision feel grounded in recognizable human behavior. This realism allows the viewer to become emotionally invested even within an extraordinary setting. A major reason the character feel authentic is their consistent development rather than changing suddenly for dramatic effect. Their personalities evolve naturally through experience, reflection, and interaction with others. Each major character possesses distinct strength and limitation, making them feel like real people instead of symbolic figure designed to represent a single idea. This gradual development gives the film emotional credibility and encourages viewers to appreciate the character beyond their immediate role. The movie also succeeds because it avoided portraying anyone as completely perfect. Each central figure display qualities that inspire admiration alongside traits that reveal vulnerability or uncertainty. Some characters are naturally confident while others are cautious or reserved. These differences make the group dynamic feel realistic because people rarely approach challenges with identical personalities or perspective. By embracing individual strength and weakness, the film creates relationships that feel genuine rather than artificially balanced. Another element that enhanced realism is the emotional restraint shown throughout the performance. Instead of relying on exaggerated speeches or constant display of emotion, the character often communicate through subtitle, facial expression, body language, coin conservation. This understated style reflect how people frequently express themselves in real life. Emotions such as determination, doubt, hope, frustration, and trust emerge gradually, making them more believable and impactful than if they were presented in an overly dramatic manner. The film also present a convincing mood and range of emotional responses. Not everyone react to the pressure, uncertainty, or responsibility in the same way, and the Maze Runner reflect this diversity. Some personality respond with optimism, other with caution, while some rely on logic or emotional support. These contrasting reactions create believable interpersonal dynamic and demonstrate that there is really a single correct way to respond to difficult circumstances. This variety adds richness to the ensemble and prevent the character from feeling repetitive. Character depth is further strengthened by the movie emphasis on motivation rather than simple label. Individuals are not defined solely as heroes, leaders, or captivism. Instead, their personalities are shaped by values such as loyalty, responsibility, curiosity, companion, and self-preservation. Because these motivations are understandable, viewers can appreciate different perspectives even when they disagree with certain attitude or decision. This balanced portrayal encourages empathy instead of simplistic judgment. The interaction between characters also contributes significantly to the film realism. Conservation feel purposeful and natural, reflecting differing opinion, personalities, and emotional state. Respect, disagreement, friendship, caution, and mutual dependence are all portrayed in ways that resemble real human relationship. The chemistry among the cast reinforces authenticity, making the emotional connection feel earned rather than manufactured. And other strength lie in the film willingness to allow silence and observation to carry emotional meaning. Characters are not constantly explaining their thought or feeling through dialogue. Instead, much of their emotional depth is conveyed through expression, pauses, and reaction. This subtitle storyteller respect the audience's ability to interpret emotions without requiring every feeling to be spoken aloud. As a result, the performance feels more mature and simplistic. From a reviewer perspective, the realism in the Maze Runner comes from its commitment to portraying emotionally believable people within an imaginative setting. The character demonstrate gradual development, relatable motivation, and a wide emotional range that reflect genuine human behavior. Combined with strong performance and natural lighting, this give the film a lasting emotional impact and ensure that its character remain memorable long after the viewing experience. And it was produced with an estimated budget of approximately $34 million, placing it in the mid-budget category for a Hollywood science fiction film. The financial range is notable because the movie delivered a polished visual presentation without approaching the exceptionally high budget often associated with major studio blockbuster. Instead of relying on unlimited spending, the film demonstrates how careful planning and efficient resource management can produce impressive results while maintaining financial discipline. A significant portion of the budget was likely allocated to production design and location filming. The film featured carefully designed environment that combined practical set with natural outdoor location filming in real landscape, reduced the need for concentrating numerous large-scale studio set while also giving the movie a more authentic visual appearance. Although the location shoot involve transportation, logistics, and scheduling costs, they can often provide greater realism at a lower overall expense than building extensive artificial environment. Another major area of investment was visual effect. While the movie include computer generated images, it avoid depending on digital effect in every scene. Instead, visual effects are used selectively to enhance the world rather than dominate it. This balanced approach help control production cost while ensuring that the effect maintain a convincing level of quality. By combining practical filmmaking technique with carefully integrated CGI, the production achieved a visually immersive experience without excessive spending. The cinematography and technical department also receive a considerable resources. High quality digital camera, professional lighting equipment, sound recording system, and experienced crew member contribute to the film polish appearance. Rather than experimented with unusually expensive filmmaking technique, the production focused on efficient camera work, natural lighting where possible, and carefully planned composition. Those choices help maximize production value while remaining within the project's financial limit. When compared with similar film released during the same period, the budget appeared relatively modest. For example, Divergent reportedly had a production budget of approximately $85 million, while the First, The Hunger Games were produced for around $78 million. Even larger science fiction franchises frequently exceeded $100 million before accounting for marketing expenses. Against these figures, The Maze Runner achieved a comparable level of technical quality with less than half the production cost of many competing films. Overall, the estimated $34 million budget reflected disciplined and efficient filmmaking strategy. Resources were carefully distributed across location, filming, production design, visual effects, cinematography, casting, post production to create a visually engaging science fiction adventure without unnecessary fictional excess. From an analytical standpoint, The Maze Runner serves as an excellent example of how thoughtful budgeting and strategic resource allocation can produce a high quality cinematic experience while remaining well below the cost of many comparable Hollywood productions. The domestic box office performance of The Maze Runner provides an excellent example of how moderately budgeted film can achieve commercial success through strong audience interest and positive word of mouth in the film industry. The domestic market, generally referred to the United States and Canada, these stats remain one of the most closely watched indicators of a movie financial performance. Although international earnings often contribute a significant portion of total revenue, domestic results are frequently used to evaluate a film's initial popularity and long-term staying power. Released in September 2014, The Maze Runner entered theater through a competitive period but benefited from being one of the major releases aimed at teenage and young adult audience. At the same time, viewers had shown considerable enthusiasm for science fiction adventure based on young adult novel, and the film arrived with this genre continued to attract a strong theatrical attendance. Its marketing campaign emphasized mystery, suspense, and action, helping it to appeal to movie goers looking for an engaging cinematic experience without relying solely on established franchise recognition. In North America, The Maze Runner earned approximately $102.4 million during its theatrical run, considering its estimated production budget of around $34 million. This domestic total represents a highly favorable return on investment even before international earnings and home entertainment revenue were considered for studio executive. Crossing the $100 million mark in the domestic market is often viewed as an important commercial milestone, particularly for film produced with relatively controlled budget. Audience trend play an important role in the film domestic success. Teenager and young adult represent the primary demographic, particularly viewers between the age of 13 and 25. This group had already demonstrated enthusiasm for dystopian and science fiction adaptation during the early 2000s. However, the movie also attracted older audience who appreciated suspense-driven storytelling and polished production value. Its ability to reach multiple age groups contributed to steady ticket sales beyond its initial release weekend. When compared with similar film released during the same period, The Maze Runner performed impressively relatively to their production budget. While movies such as The Hunger Games and Divergent generated higher domestic total, they also required considerably larger financial investment. The Hunger Games earned well over $400 million domestically and Divergent surpassed $150 million, but both productions were supported by substantially higher budget and larger marketing compared. View from a return on investment perspective, The Maze Runner proved highly efficient, demonstrating that disciplined budgeting can produce strong financial outcome even without blockbuster level spending. Overall, the domestic box office performance of the film can be considered as clear commercial success, with approximately $102.4 million earned across the United States and Canada. The film exceeded its production budget and established itself as a profitable theatrical release. The film performed well in North America. Its international box office was an even larger contributor to the overall commercial success outside the United States and Canada. The film earned approximately $245.9 million, bringing its worldwide total to around $348.3 million against an estimated production budget of $34 million. These figures demonstrate that the movie appealed to audiences across a wide range of countries and cultural markets, making it one of the more successful international-driven science fiction releases of 2014. A significant portion of the international revenue came from Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Australia, where audiences have traditionally responded well to Hollywood science fiction and adventure film. Countries with established cinema market including the United Kingdom, France, Germany, South Korea, Australia, and Mexico contribute strongly to the film's global earning. And other factor supporting the film's international success was the growing popularity of young adult dystopian cinema during the early 2010. From the global success of franchises such as The Hunger Games and the divergent audience in many international markets were already receptive to movies combining science fiction, adventure, and suspense. The Maze Runner entered theater at a time when demand for this figure remained strong, allowing it to benefit from favorable market conditions while still established from its own identity. From a business perspective, the movie international earnings were particularly significant because they represented more than two-thirds of its total worldwide box office. This illustrates a common trend in modern Hollywood filmmaking, where overseas market often generate a larger share of the total theatrical income than domestic release. Overall, the film earned approximately $245.9 million internationally, making overseas audience the primary driver of the worldwide commercial success. From a financial standpoint, The Maze Runner was a clear commercial success. The film was produced with an estimated production budget of approximately $34 million and went on to earn about $348.3 million worldwide during its theatrical run. This total combined $102.4 million from the domestic market, with approximately $245.9 million from international territories. The concept of break-even take these traditional expenses into account. Beside the production budget, studios must also pay for marketing campaign, international promotion, advertising, prints or digital distribution, and publicity tours and various demonstrated are in the modern film industry. The marketing expenses often referred to as PA, printing and advertising, can add tens of millions of dollars to a project overall investment. Because of its extra cost, financial analysts often estimate that a movie must earn roughly 2 to 2.5 times its production budget at the worldwide box office to reach its break-even point. Using this common industry guideline, The Maze Runner would likely have needed to generate approximately $70 to $85 million or more in theatrical revenue, attributable to the studio often theater revenue share, to recover its total investment. On the other hand, the film may not be the best choice for viewers who strongly prefer romantic dramas, broad comedies, or fast-paced action blockbusters. These expecting constant action, frequent humor, or immediate explanation may find the movie deliberate pacing slower than anticipated. Likewise, viewers who dislike mystery-driven storytelling or films that gradually build tension rather than delivering instant payoff may not connect with its style. The Maze Runner is best suited for audience who enjoy science fiction, mystery, adventure, and the suspense presented through polished filmmaking and thoughtful storytelling. Teenager, young adult, and adult who appreciate immersive atmospheres, strong production value, and emotionally engaging theme will likely find it highly rewarding. While it may not be satisfied viewer looking for non-stop spectacle or light-hearted entertainment, it offers a compelling and memorable experience for anyone who enjoy intelligent, suspense-driven cinema with lasting emotional resonance.